Alrighty, welcome to my little infographic. Today we're going to learn a little bit more about cerebral palsy. So let's just start with what is it? Cerebral palsy is a disorder that impacts one's mobility and stability due to injury that occurred during brain development, more specifically, an injury to the white matter of the brain. So let's just break down the term itself. Cerebral pertains to the brain or the brain area. Palsy is the difficulty associated with controlling the muscles and their movements. And this difficulty can also affect one's ability to maintain proper posture, as well as balance and stability. So who is most affected? Typically, cerebral palsy is seen in children. So babies that are born preterm or born with a very low birth weight are typically more at risk for cerebral palsy. And that's because this damage to the brain can occur before, during, or even after birth. Typically, males are more affected by cerebral palsy than females. And to date, there haven't been cases discovered of late onset cerebral palsy, so it's typically children that are affected and not adults. There are four main types of cerebral palsy that have been discovered and studied, and those are spastic, dyskinetic, ataxic, and mixed, with spastic cerebral palsy being the most common form that is typically seen. So, treatment plan, what would we do for somebody with cerebral palsy? Before we begin this section, it's important to understand that with the proper treatment, those with cerebral palsy can grow to live and lead fairly normal lives. So these children can go through physical therapy, and this physical therapy can be used to help them retrain their movements, because oftentimes, in some cases, they'll have to learn to use equipment to help them get around. So the physical therapist will help them with that. They can also use medicine, and these medications can help relieve some of that muscle tension that they are going to experience with cerebral palsy. And depending on the area of the brain or how much of it is damaged, they may also need to see a speech and language therapist. And this therapist will help retrain a form of communication that is effective for them. So they may have to teach them some sign language, but they'll help them be able to communicate with others. They also may need to see an occupational therapist, and this occupational therapist will help them gain a better sense of autonomy and help just get a better grip on being able to complete activities of daily living, which will in turn help improve their quality of life. These children may also need to undergo surgery at some point in their life to help relieve that muscle strain depending on its severity, or they may also need to correct some deformities depending on how severe that muscle strain and stress is. So, fun fact about cerebral palsy: in the United States, typically about 2 to 3 children per every 1,000 are diagnosed with cerebral palsy. So there are a lot of children affected by this disorder. We have a family friend whose daughter has cerebral palsy, and when she was younger, you could see the rigidity of her movements more clearly, like they were more visible. But as she got older, she saw a physical therapist. She may have gotten surgery, I don't remember, but now she is on her high school's golf team, and she is living a fairly normal life, and she's able to walk and get around more easily than she used to be able to.